everyone. As we welcome you to ICPF Devotional today, I just want to quickly remind you of Jesus calling out, "Come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest." Is rest particularly what we need being at homes right now? We're quite rested, but what is not at rest? I feel our hearts, our souls right now are searching. And through the devotional video right now, as we sing and hear and encourage each other, I hope that we respond to Jesus' invite to come to Him and be at rest.
I want you to remember that God's created everything you see. He breathed it into existence. Remember when His people were caught up in slavery? He rescued them. What He did was He parted the sea and He made a way for them, and then He delivered their enemies to them, and He unlocks wombs, and He provides water from a rock, and He provides manna from heaven, and He brought down the walls of Jericho. He froze the sun, allowing victory. He's toppled giants with tiny stones. He's brought fire from heaven. He's shut the mouths of lions. He preserved life in the belly of a well. He's fed thousands with a few loaves. He gives the weak strength. He heals the sick. He's made the blind see, the deaf hear, the mute speak, the lame walk, and He's overcome evil, and He's made a way through death for you and me by the death and the resurrection of His Son, Jesus Christ, that we will live with Him forever. We will dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever and ever and ever. What are we afraid of? His resume is flawless. He controls everything. And He loves you.
Isaiah chapter 55, verses 6 to 13. Seek the Lord while He may be found, call upon Him while He is near. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts. Let him return to the Lord, and He will have mercy on him, and to our God, for He will abundantly pardon. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, nor are your ways my ways, says the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. For as the rain comes down and the snow from heaven, and do not return there, but water the earth, and make it bring forth and bud, that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater, so shall my word be that goes forth from my mouth. It shall not return to me void, but it shall accomplish what I please, and it shall prosper in the thing for which I sent it. For you shall go out with joy and be led out with peace. The mountains and the hills shall break forth into singing before you, and all the trees of the field shall clap their hands. Instead of the thorn shall come up the cypress tree, and instead of the brier shall come up the myrtle tree, and it shall be to the Lord for a name, for an everlasting sign that shall not be cut off.
The weapon may be formed, but it won't prosper. When the darkness falls, it won't prevail. 'Cause the God I serve knows only how to triumph. My God will never fail. Oh, my God will never fail. And I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. And I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. giant, 'cause I know how this story ends. Yes, I know how this story ends. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. What the enemy meant for evil, and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil, and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil, and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil, and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil, and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil, and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. 'Cause I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. Here I am, down on my knees again, surrendering all, surrendering all. Find me here, Lord, as you draw me near. I'm desperate for you. I'm desperate for you. I surrender. I surrender. surrender. I surrender. I wanna know you more. I wanna know you more. I surrender. I surrender. I wanna know you more. I wanna know you more.
Greetings to one and all, in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I'm thankful to ICPF Canada for giving me this opportunity to come before you with the word of the Lord this evening. And, we are all in a season of kind of a lockdown where we are taking care of ourselves, implementing social distancing, and we are getting to hear new words like quarantine that we haven't heard of before. But nevertheless, this is also a season that God has appointed for each and every one of us to draw closer to Him. God is actually drawing us closer to Him in this particular time. Not only are we to stay secure from the virus, but we are also to stay in His presence to learn from Him in the season. And to that effect, let me bring your attention to one particular character in the Bible. Though he was young, had to go through a particular season of kind of isolation. Even though there were people around him, still there was a spiritual isolation that he had to endure. And it is none other than Samuel. We all have heard of him concerning the ministry that he did, and also the prayer that his mother Hannah offered. In between the prayer of his mother Hannah as well as the ministry that he did, there was also a season where he had to be in a place, in a time of spiritual isolation. Even though there was people around him, the people around him were not the ones who were fearing the Lord, but they were called as corrupt. They were termed as those who did not know the Lord. But Samuel, at that time, even at the time, he was one who sought the face of the Lord. So there might be people around us who may not be fearing God. There might be people, even in the so-called spiritual circles, who might not be knowing the Lord, who might be corrupt. But it doesn't give us leave for us to go the same route. Just like Samuel did, it's also the time that we come sincerely before the Lord, seeking His face, asking for His favor, knowing what the desire, what the heart, what the will of the Lord is for concerning us. Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 1 verse 24. 1 Samuel chapter 1 verse 24. Now when she had weaned him, she took him up with her with 3 bowls, 1 ephah of flour, and a skin of wine, and brought him to the house of the Lord in Shiloh, and the child was young. We see that it is only Hannah that is mentioned here. In the prior incidents that are mentioned in that 1 Samuel chapter 1, we see Elkanah as well as Hannah going together, and Elkanah is also called out. But at this particular time, this particular instance, we see Hannah's name being explicitly called out along with Samuel. Elkanah is nowhere to be seen, even though Elkanah had accompanied them in this particular journey to the house of the Lord at Shiloh. Why did the Spirit of the Lord did not make explicit mention of Elkanah? I believe that it is because Elkanah did not sincerely seek the Lord concerning a child through Hannah. It was Hannah who poured out her mind, her soul, her spirit before the Lord in anguish. And there is one thing that is specifically noted, that is notable concerning the Spirit of the Lord. He calls out those who earnestly, who sincerely, who faithfully sought Him. Even concerning the birth of Jesus, when Jesus was brought into the temple, we see that there are 2 people that are being called out. One is Simon and the other one is Anna. Both of them were well advanced in the years, but they were sincerely seeking after the Lord. So those who call after God, who seek the Lord, they will be called out. See, there is a verse like this in 2 Chronicles chapter 16, verse 9. 2 Chronicles chapter 16, verse 9. The first part goes like this: For the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth, to show himself strong on behalf of those whose heart is loyal to him. To show himself strong on behalf of those whose heart is loyal to him. So the eyes of the Lord are running to and fro. And at that particular time, the eyes of the Lord was fastened upon Hannah to show himself strong on behalf of her who was loyal to the Lord God Almighty. And because of which she is being called out. Now, if you come to 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 11, we see that then Elkanah went to his house at Ramah, but the child ministered to the Lord before Eli the priest. Elkanah had a house to go back to. It was the place where he belonged. It was the place of his rest. But as far as Samuel is concerned, he is dedicated to the Lord right now by his mother and potentially his father as well. So that he belongs to another house. He doesn't belong to the house that Elkanah belongs anymore, because he is dedicated to another house, and that house is the house of the Lord at Shiloh. So you might not be finding comfort, finding rest in the houses that others belong, others around you, others in this world belong. You belong to a different house, and it is only in that house you will prosper, you will find rest. And that is the house of the Lord. That is the place of your calling. That is the place of your mandate. That is the place of your destiny. Samuel's destiny was connected to the house of the Lord. So if you are finding discomfort in the company of those who are not seeking after the Lord, it's only because you belong to a different house altogether. Samuel belonged to the house of the Lord, and here we see that the child ministered to the Lord before Eli the priest. So he belonged to this house of the Lord at Shiloh. Now there is one more thought that I would like to share with you before I conclude. It's in 1 Samuel chapter 3. 1 Samuel chapter 3, verse 10. Now the Lord came and stood and called as at other times, Samuel, Samuel. And Samuel answered, Speak, for your servant hears. Samuel is in a spiritual isolation. Sadly, Eli couldn't discern who was calling Samuel out. Samuel couldn't discern because he was very young. He's still learning. But Eli, with all those years of experience, couldn't discern the voice behind this particular beckon and call of the Lord. Samuel's heart was being trained to listen to God's voice. Eli have had it already trained over the years. Eli, his eyes were diminishing, getting dimmed, diminishing in sight, to the extent that he couldn't discern two particular people. One, Hannah herself. When Hannah responds to Eli, when Eli thought that she was drunk, she uses this particular term that I am not wicked. Or in other words, I'm not a daughter of Belial. But when it comes to mentioning the two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, of Eli, the two sons of Eli, they are termed as wicked sons of Belial. Eli couldn't discern that Hannah is not a daughter of Belial. Instead, it is his two sons. Eli couldn't discern that. Eli here couldn't discern that it was the Lord who was calling Samuel. 3 times the Lord called Samuel, and it's the 4th time Samuel is responding to the Lord, "Speak, for your servant hears." In this season of isolation, can we learn to hear from the Lord? You know what is the biggest malady that we face today? It's not that we are unable to distinguish if it is the Lord that is speaking or if it's somebody else. It is that we are not hearing anything at all. In the midst of all the voices that are clamoring for our attention around us, unfortunately, we are not hearing anything at all. Water, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. Seawater surrounding that particular guy who got lost in the sea. There is water everywhere, but not a single drop to drink. There is voices everywhere, but we are unable to hear the voice of the Lord. In this particular season, let this be our heart's desire, that we will hear with our inner ears what the Lord is trying to communicate to us. Let this be our prayer. Let this be our desire, that in this season of isolation, that we will get used to hearing the voice of the Lord. Thank you, and God bless you.
I hope the video spoke to you in great length. And as weeks pass by, and we do not know when we'll see each other, but till then, may the God of peace sanctify you and keep you happy and sound.